Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have you ever noticed that quiet moment when something shifts between you and someone you care about? When conversations grow shorter, smiles fade and warmth in their eyes disappears. You keep giving more, investing energy, offering attention and care, yet their response feels distant, often silent. At first, the mind searches for a cause. They've changed, they no longer love me, or people just become ungrateful. These are natural thoughts. But what if the real answer isn't entirely outside of us? What if the deeper truth lies within? Jungian psychology invites us to start here, not with accusations, but with self-exploration. Often, without realizing it, we teach others how to treat us. Carl Jung explained that human life is shaped not only by what we consciously know, but by what we repress. Our relationships act as living stages where hidden, unconscious scripts play out. One of the most common patterns emerges when we allow ourselves to be undervalued because we fear rejection. We put on a mask, the persona, a role that hides our true feelings so we can be accepted. We agree to less than we deserve. We smile when we feel hurt. We say yes when deep down we wish to say no. Each concession becomes another brick in a wall we build around our self-worth. Over time, this wall grows dense. The people close to us no longer see where we begin and where we end. They grow accustomed to our constant availability and forget to treat us as someone to be cherished. Jung called these repeated patterns complexes, internal loops triggered automatically. The good girl complex pushes us to please in search of approval. The rescuer complex drives self-sacrifice for a sense of worth. The fear of rejection complex whispers, better to swallow the hurt than be alone. All lead to the same outcome. We begin to trade our value for approval. But here is a truth worth holding. Love and respect cannot be demanded or earned by sacrifice. They arise where self-respect lives. If this chapter resonates with you, pause for a moment. Write in the comments the number 1 if you've ever felt this way, and share your experience. Don't forget to like and share this video, and stay tuned until the end, because I have a very important message for you that will transform the way you see yourself and your relationships. The first step is awareness, and with awareness comes the possibility to change. Let's now move deeper and explore how our inner patterns quietly shape the way we allow ourselves to be treated. Continuing from the moment of awareness we reached earlier, we begin to uncover patterns that quietly direct our lives. These patterns are not random. Jung called them complexes, deep unconscious structures in the psyche that shape how we respond to others and ourselves. They are automatic, invisible forces that often run our relationships without our conscious knowledge. One of the most common is the good girl complex. It compels us to seek validation through pleasing others, even at our own expense. We measure our worth by how much we give, how often we sacrifice, and how well we conform to expectations. Then there's the rescuer complex, a deep impulse to save, to fix, to carry the weight of others. We give endlessly, hoping our value will be recognized. And then the fear of rejection complex, a subtle but powerful voice inside whispering, "It's better to swallow your pain than to risk being alone." These inner scripts often operate unnoticed, but they build powerful habits that direct how we set boundaries, or fail to set them. Over time, these complexes become walls around our self-esteem. Every time we swallow our voice, overlook our needs, or forgive what we should not, we place another brick in this structure. The wall becomes so solid that those around us no longer notice it. They stop seeing us as whole individuals and begin treating us as a constant resource, someone available to adapt to their needs without question. The danger is that we start living through these unconscious patterns without realizing it. We give away our value and then wonder why the recognition we seek never arrives. Jung taught that the first step to breaking this cycle is self-awareness. This means seeing clearly where we give up ourselves and why we do it. I invite you now to take a moment, reflect on your own life. How often have you bent to meet others' expectations, even when it hurt you? How often have you hidden your truth just to maintain peace? Write a comment with the number 2 if you recognize this pattern in your relationships. Remember to like this video if you find it valuable and share it to inspire others. Our inner world shapes the outer world far more than we imagine. In the next chapter, we'll explore how boundaries become the first act of self-respect, the essential bridge between knowing your value and protecting it. From recognizing the hidden patterns within us, we arrive at a deeper truth. Awareness alone is not enough. Change begins when we translate that awareness into action, and that action often starts with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to isolate us from the world. They are doors with handles on our side. They are the conscious choice of who enters our life, how, and under what conditions. Carl Jung taught that a mature personality is able to hold tension between opposites, to care for another without losing oneself. Boundaries are the first practical step in that process. They are the quiet declaration. I know my worth and I will not give it away for less. Yet in practice, setting boundaries feels uncomfortable at first, especially if we have spent years living as the easy one, the person who always says yes, who silently sacrifices, who avoids conflict to preserve connection. When we sense we are being undervalued, our instinct often pushes us to give more. We extend more time, attention, and compromises, believing that our value lies in giving. But what we overlook is that this dynamic can deepen dependence rather than build respect. True change begins the moment we stop paying for someone's indifference with our energy. Setting boundaries is not about aggression or rejection. It is about self-care and clarity. It means calmly stating what we accept and what we will not tolerate. I will not cancel my plans for convenience alone. If agreements are not respected, I will not continue. Such phrases may sound firm, even harsh, to those used to our constant availability. But for us, they are acts of respect toward ourselves. This requires discipline and consistency. Boundaries will be tested, and internal resistance will appear. Voices from within, fear, doubt, guilt, may whisper that we are being selfish, that we risk losing someone. These are echoes of the complexes we carry. Jung's lesson is vital here. Conscious self-awareness allows us to pause, breathe, and decide from strength rather than fear. If this resonates, type 3 in the comments to affirm that you're ready to build boundaries for yourself. Like this video if it speaks to you, and share it so others may reflect. In the next chapter, we'll explore how boundaries are not the end but the beginning of a deeper process. Emotional detachment, the art of reclaiming your inner freedom without cutting yourself off from love. Having set boundaries, a deeper process begins, one Jung called emotional detachment. This is not coldness, indifference, or withdrawal. It is a conscious reclaiming of your inner world, a choice to stop living as a reaction to someone else's behavior and start living as the author of your own emotional reality. Emotional detachment is the quiet art of stepping back so you can see clearly what is happening, without being swept away by impulses or fears. Often, when we sense that someone values us less, we respond instinctively, checking messages repeatedly, scrolling through social media, replaying conversations and wondering what went wrong. These habits feed emotional dependence, keeping us tied to another person's approval. Detachment means breaking that loop. It is the discipline of redirecting your energy inward rather than into endless speculation. Jung spoke about the importance of consciousness, the ability to observe one's emotions without drowning in them. When you detach emotionally, you create space. Space to rest, to reflect, to heal. That silence inside is not emptiness. It is a fertile ground where your true needs, boundaries, and desires become clearer. The first step is to limit what fuels dependence. Endless checking of messages, analyzing every gesture, talking excessively about the person to friends. These are emotional crutches that keep you locked in. Instead, return to yourself. Nourish your body with sleep, movement, and proper rest. Take care of everyday life. These are not trivial acts. They are the foundation of emotional strength. Another crucial step is to release expectations. We often suffer not from what others do, but from what they don't do, from imagined scenarios we build in our minds. Jung called this projection. We project hopes and fears onto another, then become upset when they fail to play the role we imagined. Emotional detachment means letting go of these projections. Type 4 in the comments if you recognize how emotional dependence has shaped your relationships. Like and share this video to help others awaken to this process. In the next chapter, we'll explore how detachment naturally leads to an essential transformation, the recovery of your self-worth. It is here that silence becomes power, and inner clarity begins to shape not only your relationships, but your life itself. As emotional detachment deepens, something powerful begins to shift. You stop reacting compulsively and start choosing consciously. This is where self-worth, long hidden under the weight of unconscious patterns, begins to return. Jung believed that self-worth is not given by others. It is reclaimed from within. It emerges when we stop proving ourselves and start living according to our own truth. Reclaiming self-worth begins with honest reflection. It means looking at moments when you compromised your values, silenced your voice, or tolerated behavior that diminished you. These moments accumulate like stones, forming walls around your inner self. When you break through them, you open space for respect and genuine connection. Boundaries and detachment together create the foundation for self-respect. They shift your energy away from seeking validation and toward cultivating your own inner strength. This shift transforms not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. You begin to live without the constant need to prove your value, because you already know it. This process will inevitably change your relationships. Some will adapt, drawn toward a new standard of mutual respect. Others, who benefited from your availability without reciprocity, will resist, manipulate, or leave. This is not loss. It is a natural selection of relationships. The ones that remain are those rooted in equality and genuine regard. In reclaiming self-worth, forgiveness becomes essential. Jung taught that forgiveness is not forgetting or resuming what was broken. It is releasing the projection of harm onto another, understanding they too act from their own shadows and wounds. Forgiveness frees you from carrying resentment and opens space for healthier connections. Type 5 in the comments if you are ready to reclaim your self-worth. Like this video if it speaks to your heart, and share it to inspire others on their journey. From here, we step into defining new standards, the conscious rules by which we live and relate. Boundaries are no longer reactive. They become proactive declarations of who we are and what we will accept. This is where clarity transforms into a roadmap for a healthier life. In the next chapter, we'll dive into how creating new standards solidifies your freedom, empowering you to live without fear of losing yourself. This step turns inner clarity into a lived reality. Once you have reclaimed your self-worth, the next step is to define what is no longer acceptable and what will guide your relationships moving forward. This is about setting new standards, a conscious choice to live according to principles that protect your dignity and nurture your growth. Boundaries become not just reactions, but proactive commitments to yourself. Carl Jung often emphasized that a mature personality is capable of holding its own values steady amidst change. These values become your compass. They define what respect looks like, how trust should be built, and what behaviors cross the line. This clarity is powerful. It prevents you from slipping into old patterns of compromise and self-neglect. Writing down your standards can be transformative. What matters to you now? Perhaps it is mutual respect, open communication, reliability, emotional honesty. Identify your red lines, those behaviors you will no longer tolerate, such as passive aggression, emotional manipulation, or dismissal of your feelings. This list will act as your filter, helping you recognize healthy relationships from the ones that drain you before you even get close. The beauty of having standards is that they shift your relationships from unconscious exchanges to conscious choices. You no longer operate from fear or habit. You decide whether someone belongs in your life based on their ability to meet those standards, not out of a need for approval or fear of being alone. Type 6 in the comments if you are ready to define your own standards for healthy relationships. Like this video if it resonates, and share it to help others find their clarity. Setting new standards is an act of self-love. It is a declaration. I deserve relationships that honor who I am, and with that comes freedom. Because now your choices are rooted not in dependence, but in self-respect. In the next chapter, we will explore a deeper transformation that follows setting boundaries and creating standards, emotional independence. This is where you fully stop living as a reaction to others and begin living as the author of your own life. It is where boundaries, detachment, and clarity converge into personal freedom. When boundaries are clear and standards are defined, a profound transformation begins, emotional independence. This is the stage where you no longer live as a reaction to others, but as the conscious creator of your own life. Carl Jung described this as living from the center of the self, where your identity is not shaped by approval or rejection, but by an inner conviction of your own worth. Emotional independence is not detachment from life or relationships. It is a deeper freedom, the ability to stand in your truth without constantly seeking validation. It means your sense of value comes from within, not from another's attention or approval. This freedom transforms the way you live and how you relate to others. At this stage, your relationships change. Some will deepen, drawn to your clarity and self-possession. Others will fade, unable to meet the standards you now hold. This is not loss, but refinement, a natural selection of relationships that serve your growth rather than your dependency. Jung believed that emotional independence is the foundation of true self-realization. It is a state where silence becomes strength and presence becomes a statement. You no longer need to explain, defend, or justify yourself. Your life and actions speak clearly for who you are. Achieving this requires discipline. It means daily choices, protecting your time, honoring your needs, speaking your truth, and not slipping back into old habits of self-neglect. This is the ritual of self-support. Simple yet powerful acts that reaffirm your independence. It could be a walk that reconnects you with your body, focusing on a personal project, or saying no when something does not align with your values. Type 7 in the comments if you feel ready to step into emotional independence. Like this video if it has touched you, and share it to inspire others to begin this journey. The culmination of emotional independence is not just inner peace, but a profound shift in perspective. You begin to see relationships not as validations of your worth, but as mutual exchanges between whole individuals. This is the heart of living authentically. In the final chapter, we will bring everything together: boundaries, standards, detachment, and independence, and reveal the deepest transformation of all: living with inner freedom. A state that makes you unshakable, empowered, and truly alive. The final stage of this journey is not marked by noise or dramatic gestures, but by a deep inner stillness. Carl Jung called this living from the center, a place where the axis between ego and self aligns so firmly that external circumstances no longer dictate who you are. This is the essence of inner freedom. Inner freedom means you no longer measure your value through others' opinions. You stop needing constant approval and no longer live to prove your worth. You simply know it. This quiet certainty changes everything. Relationships become choices rather than necessities. You engage with others not out of dependence, but from a place of abundance and authenticity. At this point, boundaries are no longer defensive walls. They are the architecture of your life. They are doors you control. Only those willing to respect your integrity enter. Many will step away because they were drawn to the old version of you, the one who sought approval, who gave without balance. Those who remain will be people who genuinely value you for who you are. This is where forgiveness becomes a vital act. Jung taught that true forgiveness is not forgetting or reconciling, but releasing the projection of harm. It is liberating yourself from carrying the burden of resentment, making space for peace and new growth. Forgiving does not mean re-engaging. It means freeing yourself. Type 8 in the comments if you are ready to embrace inner freedom. Like and share this video so others can discover this path. The journey you have taken transforms not just relationships, but your entire life. You stop living as a reaction and begin living as the author of your story. You no longer ask, do they value me? Because you have ceased being a seeker of proof. You simply live in your truth. Now ask yourself, if I no longer needed to prove my worth, how would I spend tomorrow? This question is your gateway to continued growth. Small daily steps, saying no when necessary, speaking your truth, choosing yourself, build the foundation of lasting strength. This is not the end, but the beginning of living fully. A life where your value is unshakable, where your heart is free, and where you live with clarity, integrity, and peace. And that is the most important message of all.